I finally figured out at the top of the program here, I'm going to say it. I finally figured out something about how these people think. The old line when Jerry Jarrett was sitting in the locker room with Bill Dundee and Jerry Lawler in Memphis one night, and the whole Memphis crew. And they were talking about how the Poffos were running opposition to him and how Randy Savage was making all the challenges, and they were billing those guys as appearing on the ICW programs, and they wouldn't show up, and people would be mad, and they spent all their time challenging them and talking about them, so it made them look so second place, right? In hindsight, it was a very bad promotional strategy, but at the time they were right in the middle of it, and they're all shaking their heads. And Jerry Jarrett says, I just don't understand how stupid people think. And then Sputnik Monroe jumps up and says, well, hell, Jerry, I'll tell you how stupid people think. And then he realized what he said. And everybody laughed at him, and old Sput sat back down. But I have figured out how stupid people think. I'm going to postulate to you a theory, Brian Last, and you do not need to be in any way sycophantic here. If you disagree with any of the facts or suppositions that I promulgate to you, please do so. But if it sounds like a reasonable statement I'm making, then you can nod in concurrence. AEW wrestling, in the locker room, the talent roster is populated by probably a higher percentage than most promotions of people who are of the wrestling should be silly and fun and entertaining crowd, right? You would say that.
I'm nodding my head in concurrence, yes.
Okay, well, this is audio, so help us out here with a little fucking video or audio concurrence. You would also say that the roster is populated with a higher percentage than most promotions of people who have had matches with underage children, invisible men, inanimate objects, and teleported from different dimensions and things of that nature. You would concur with that?
Possibly more than any other roster in wrestling history, yes.
And you would concur with that their roster, in most cases, after one of these occurrences or performances or committals of these acts, or however you want to phrase it, they will then go on social media and talk about how that people who weren't entertained by this festive, this entertaining, silly and fun and wacky and zany environment that we've created just have no souls. You would concur with that?
Yes, there's one person who's done that specifically in AEW, so I would concur.
So if wrestling is supposed to be silly and fun and all for show and entertaining, and the matches or the performances that these people have a heavy dose of that in order to get people to have fun and make fun and be silly and mocky and jokey, then why is it that those people and the fans of those people who enjoy the silly, fun, phony wrestling, they are the ones that when you actually point out and mock and make fun of and make mockery of them and their efforts in trying to perpetrate professional wrestling, they're the ones that lose their freaking minds. Lose their fucking minds. Lose their rabbit-ass motherfucking minds. And finally, I've figured it out. Because they know they can't do this shit right. But they also know that if they make us think that what they are doing in attempting to do it is right, and they're doing this funny fucking silly bullshit on purpose, then someone will applaud them for a great parody of what they're trying to perpetrate, and in some cases fornicate, in the first place. I think I've figured it out. So you can't make fun of what they do or who they are or who they act like unless they want you to in the way that they are making fun of whatever it is in the match or whatever that they are perpetrating. So it's a very fine line there.
That's right. You're supposed to, at this point in time in 2020, accept anything under the guise of professional wrestling because it's an open business and all wrestling is good. Just root for all wrestling. However, if you don't like it, you're scum of the earth.
Scum of the earth, baby. Scum of the earth. Anyway, a sloppy shop. We'll talk more about the sloppy shop over there later on.